This episode of the Power Ranking Show is brought to you by betonline.ag. BetOnline is your number one source for all of your basketball info, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds and lines, including the latest player reports for this year's pro basketball playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters this season, as they have you covered for all of your sports wagering needs, including basketball, MLB, NHL, right to UFC and boxing. BetOnline is the easiest and the fastest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use our promo code BELIEVE to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Well, welcome to Power Rankings Podcast. I was waiting for you to read that. I was hoping you were going to read that. I'm your host, Elliot Harrison, at Harrison NFL. I wanted to do it just like Marcus, who is at Marcus_Mosher. And today, other than me futzing with my microphone, which is working weird, I wanted to talk about something with Marcus that he sent me a note about, which is the division odds. I thought they were interesting. Marcus sent me a text last week and said the Eagles are basically even odds to win the NFC East. And we talked almost ad nauseum last offseason about how the Eagles were the hugest bargain at 4-1 to win the NFC East. And then you start looking at the division odds. I think they're really interesting. So we've got all the divisions up and wanted to talk about each one, who the favorite is right now. And if you want to lay your money down, what might be the better choices to make, or you're just betting for fun. We know Marcus is going to bet on the Steelers to win the AFC North. So we can get that out of the way. But did you use BetOnline? I'm guessing there are odds.
Of course we use BetOnline. Yes.
Is that a dumb question? So I see the AFC East up here first. By the way, Marcus actually got the order right. Literally every time we do a rundown with anything that he ranks, he never gets the order. He can't alphabetize. So this is really impressive. Maybe we should just do everything by division, because you don't mess anything with divisions.
It
so
also helps that BetOnline had him in order, so I didn't wasn't that hard.
And by the way, guys, I apologize if my mic sounds weird. I don't know for some reason. Oh, there it is. My computer not picking up my microphone. That's what I was fiddle farting with, as we say. Did they say fiddle fart, or did they say futz in Pennsylvania? What do you say when you're just like
words that we can't say on the podcast? But let's jump right to the Bills, who are currently plus 140 favorites to win the AFC East, which I think is
translate.
It's you bet $100, you win $140.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Man, this division's so much fun. You've got the Jets that are plus 230, the Dolphins plus 290, and then the Patriots, a little bit of a sleeper, plus 700 to win the division.
I know who I'm taking out of that group. Who are you taking?
The Bills.
I would take Miami with those kind of odds. Why not? You're getting great odds. You lay down $100, you get 290. Lay down 1,000, you get 2,900. See this mathematics game? It's fun. I worry a little bit about the Bills, the way they played late in the year. They got a little sloppy. Their quarterback, frankly, got a little sloppy. Miami with Skylar Thompson. Am I exaggerating to say they gave them all they could handle in Buffalo in the
won that
wild
game.
card?
Yeah.
And Miami was, I'm trying to remember what seed Miami was, like the 12th seed.
7th
that's what
seed,
our
I think, right?
Playoffs are doing now.
6th seed.
Yeah. I don't know. Plus 140 is not bad odds. I've said this to you before. I'm going to say it again. I really think a lot is contingent on, can Von Miller come back and be 75% of what he was last year before he got hurt? They need him.
Yeah, I think I'll just go with the Bills. Remember, they were the number one seed in the AFC last year until they had a whole bunch of bad things happen, starting after Thanksgiving, moving these games around.
Having you root for them.
Right. As a longtime Bills fan, plus the DeMar Hamlin situation. This team is really, really good. And I've got questions about like the Jets. How long is it going to take Aaron Rodgers to get used to that, new team? Can Tua stay healthy? Who's the starting quarterback in New England? I think I would take Buffalo at plus 140.
You're more into the betting game than I am. It fascinates me just sometimes as an outsider looking in. For some reason, I find division odds more interesting sometimes than Super Bowl. Actually, way more interesting than Super Bowl odds. And I do like the over-unders on the win total, but I think what I like about the division odds is that whoever's in the AFC East, for example, they've got to play pretty much all the same opponents. The only opponents that they don't have to play that are the same is based on your finish, but they have to play the same NFC division. They have to play the same AFC division outside of their own. And of course, they all have to play each other twice. And so I find it interesting who's going to emerge from that. And I think Miami could be that team, but we're probably sleeping on the Jets a little bit. What were their odds?
They were plus 250 or plus 230.
230. Do you like, just out of curiosity, before we go to the AFC North, do you like the Jets odds or the Dolphins odds?
Dolphins
better.
I think the Dolphins are just better than the Jets. Honestly, I think their defense is going to be better than the Jets this year with Vic Fangio. And now you've got Jalen Ramsey. They drafted a corner in the 3rd round this year that I really liked. I would take the Dolphins at the same odds over the Jets.
I'll say this last point on the AFC East. Really, the Bills are the only ones without a quarterback question mark. Yeah. Tua's health, I think, is going to be a question mark for several years to come. I think that's fair to say. The Jets, we don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to be at 40 years old, essentially. How much is he going to put into it? Signs look good right now. And then the Patriots were trying to shop Mac Jones, and their quarterback situation, I think, is a big question mark. So if you want to go for the steady Eddie, then Buffalo would be your choice there. Let's go to the AFC North.
Cincinnati Bengals plus 115 to win the AFC North.
Not surprised. If it was like plus 150, I would say jump all over that. I think 115 is right because I've told you I think Cleveland wins 10 games this year. Baltimore re-signed Lamar Jackson, and you've said to me that you don't think Pittsburgh's going to be a pushover either. So how do you look at this?
I'm taking the Ravens at plus 250 to win the division.
Give me the other odds. Let's go Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh real quick.
Baltimore's plus 250. The Browns are plus 350. The Steelers are plus 650. Oof. Remember, the Ravens had a chance to win this division last year, even without Lamar Jackson. They almost defeated the Bengals in the playoff game with Tyler Huntley. If he doesn't fumble the ball at the goal line, the 1 yard line, they probably win that game. You add Odell Beckham, you add Zay Flowers. That defense was already awesome last year. And now you get a healthy Lamar Jackson. I think the Bengals and the Ravens are very, very similar, and the price difference there, I'll just take the Baltimore Ravens.
You said the Ravens are 250?
Plus 250.
Yeah. What are the Browns again?
Plus 350.
I think that's an interesting one for me. By the way, I would walk away from this division. I would either hit the Bills up in the AFC East or go with Miami. Marcus feels stronger about this one than I do. Clearly, I do think Cleveland's interesting because if I had to pick the one thing you harped on the most last year, other than defending Dak Prescott, was that the Cleveland defense did not play up to snuff. Horrendous. What if all of a sudden they do and Deshaun Watson plays better? They could be the best team in the division. It could happen.
It could happen.
But that's a lot of ifs. I still think Cincinnati's the best in the division. Like I said, if you want to go with Marcus, Baltimore is a good buy, good value play. I get your point there. That's 135 difference. That's a sizable difference. Let's go to the AFC. Oh, go ahead.
Really quickly, remember that the Bengals play a first place schedule, which includes a week 17 game against the Chiefs. They're going to play just a much harder schedule than what Baltimore's going to face. That might end up being the difference in one game. And as we see every year in the AFC North, it typically comes down to one game.
But I will say this, doesn't Cleveland play the last place schedule?
Yes.
Didn't they go 8-9, I think?
Yes.
And Pittsburgh went 8-1. So I'm just saying it's interesting, but I have more confidence in your Bills pick or my Miami pick than I do going with Cleveland and Baltimore. I like the value. Let's go to the AFC South. I see our Jags helmet there. We can't cheat here because it doesn't really look like Tecmo. I mean, they didn't have Jacksonville in Tecmo Super.
I know. We had to make it. All right, so let's start with this. Jacksonville minus 155 to win the division. If you bet, you need to bet $155 to win 100. Let me ask you this. After Jacksonville, which team would scare you the most if you're the Jags?
I want to say the Texans, but the quarterback situation, I don't know how quickly that's going to turn around because I don't know how much help he has to turn it around. The Colts, given the style of play of their rookie quarterback, could I see him coming in with Jonathan Taylor and them running all over the place, I could. So I'm actually going to go with the Colts because I don't trust the Titans this year, probably to my own detriment, as good as their head coach is.
So the Titans are plus 375. The Colts are plus 575, and then your Texans plus 625. So if you're interested in fading Jacksonville at all, I agree with you. I think the Colts at plus 575 are probably the best bet here.
I'll be honest, though. I don't think the Jags at minus 155 is a bad bet. I don't. I get it. It's you're betting 155 to win $100, but I think Jacksonville goes 9-8 and wins that division this year. AFC West, a little more interesting to me, frankly, than the AFC South. I see Kansas City. Yeah. What do we got?
Yeah, and that shouldn't be surprising at all. Kansas City minus 150 to win the AFC West. We've got the Chargers at plus 300, the Broncos at plus 525, and then the Raiders at 10-1.
Wow. Chargers again?
Plus 300, 3-1.
I like that. Now,
I'm not getting sucked into this again. You just can't make me do it.
Am I speaking out of both sides of my mouth if I say I don't mind if you bet Kansas City or the Chargers here? Do you have any problem with someone betting on two teams and kind of hedging their bets a little bit? Or is that just a terrible idea?
No, but hey, shout out to Bet Online. You can actually do which order you believe these teams are going to finish. So you could be like, you could bet on Chiefs, Chargers, and I think that's even odds. And then you can just flip around and do Chargers, Chiefs. And that's like 2-1. So
can you bet all four?
Yeah. It's like the perfecta. You got to get all four right when a horse race.
I wonder what the odds would be with that. Cause honestly, I think this one's not that hard. Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, Raiders. Any problem with that?
Yeah. I won't be surprised to see the Raiders have a better record than the Broncos.
Ooh, hot take.
Why they did it last year?
Yeah. Well,
they did it the year before that.
I don't think it's going to happen this year, but
they did it the year before that. I think it's three straight years they've finished higher than the Broncos.
I'll bet you some famous jams and jellies on that one.
Deal.
Yeah, I like the Chargers bet. The one thing with Kansas City, man, the one thing that bothers me just a little bit, offensive line reshuffling, and Travis Kelce has to hit the wall at some point, doesn't he? I mean, this is going to be year 11, man. Can he keep putting up 1,400 yards and 10 touchdowns? And probably yes. Speaking of the Kelces, let's go to the NFC East. We got Philadelphia there.
And this is actually what sparked this conversation. So again, depending on the sports book you use, these lines are a little different, but Bet Online has the Eagles at minus 120 to win the division.
A little different than even.
Little different. Cowboys plus 185. I've seen that at plus 175 at other places. And then the Giants at 6-1, Washington 11-1.
Okay, you can't go with Washington. I mean, I get the odds look wonderful, but you'd have to really be thinking Sam Howell is the man, and I don't know what in the world you're basing that on.
And I can't take the Giants. The Giants went, I think they were 1-4-1 in the division last year, and they got blown out by Philadelphia and Dallas.
I don't think Dallas is a bad bet, but I wish they were a little bit closer to the Ravens plus 250 than the 175. If Dallas was plus 200 or higher, I'd feel better about it. But given where they're at, I still think Philadelphia betting 120 to make 100 is the bet to go here.
I agree. They're just the most talented team in the league. And a lot would have to go wrong for them to not win this division. Like they probably would only have to win. I think if they get to 12 wins, they win this division. And I just don't see somebody beating them 6 times,
Real quick, well, I already know how you felt about Dallas's draft. You couldn't stand it. Do you feel like Philadelphia came out as a better Super Bowl contender because of their draft, or just kind of stayed the same?
I think they stayed the same. I think we overrate how much rookies impact teams right away, right? Fair. So I like their draft, but I don't know if it changes a lot for me.
Gotcha. A team that people are pretty high on, which is a really weird place to be, are the Detroit Lions. I've been an unabashed Lions homer on this podcast. I'm going to guess the Lions. I don't want you to tell me. I'm going to guess the Lions are you have to bet. Oh, gosh. I'm going to say that they're plus 120.
Plus 160 to win the division.
Okay.
The Vikings are next at plus 225. The Bears are next at plus 350. And then we've got the Packers at plus 425.
Okay. I like Green Bay the best out of that.
Yeah, so do I.
Because of the odds.
Yeah.
We've already we did a win totals podcast very similar to this about 5 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about Green Bay being the best bargain. They think the win total they had, Bet Online was like 7.5, something like that, or 7 even.
Yep.
We said bet the over. Obviously, winning the division is a different deal. So let's go to the favorite here in the division because that's the graphic we have up. I don't think Detroit's a bad bet at plus 160 at all. This is another one that I kind of like 2 different bets in the same division.
Why not just take the Vikings at plus 225? I know last year it was a little fluky, them going 13-4.
That's my problem.
It's just they didn't lose a lot. They added some guys on defense. They added a really good number 2 receiver in Jordan Addison. The offensive line's awesome. Why can't they win 11 games this year? Even if they regress 2 wins, I still think 11 games is going to win that division.
Can't win with them.
No, we're getting to that team in a little bit. Don't worry.
Yeah. I guess I don't want to get sucked in the way you don't want to get sucked in with the Chargers. You know, the Vikings are the Chargers. That's what they are. And so I either like Detroit here, though they got thrown a little bit of a monkey wrench with the gambling issue. But again, out of these 4, if you're getting 425 odds on Green Bay, take that all day. Because if Jordan Love ends up being a real gamer like he looked like against Philadelphia, why can't that team win? Detroit's not that strong.
No, it's a pretty young team for Green Bay. That's the only thing that makes me a little bit nervous. But I mean, I take Minnesota.
Difference between them and Minnesota's odds.
I take Minnesota's odds though.
Okay. You always speak out of both sides.
I don't.
You start with the Packers, then you can't make up your mind. Maybe that's a walk away. So far, I'm liking Kansas City, Philadelphia, and either Miami and Buffalo in the AFC East. You like Baltimore. We kind of don't love the AFC South. Don't love the NFC North. We have some disagreement here.
We'll come up with a nice little 3-team division bet. Don't worry.
Yeah. All right. NFC South.
Okay. So we've got the Saints right now at plus 130 to win the division. Then we've got the Falcons at plus 240, the Panthers at plus 315, and Tampa Bay at plus 625.
It's got to be either New Orleans or Carolina for me. New Orleans is the best team in the division right now, but I don't trust them. I don't. Carolina, I just like the odds. I like what you're getting there.
Can I read? I'm going to just read you the teams that the Saints play this year. Are you ready?
Sure.
I'm ready. You tell me who the best quarterback they play all year. Falcons, Panthers, Bucks, Bears, Lions, Jags at home, Titans, Giants, and then the away games. Falcons, Panthers, Packers, Texans, Colts, Vikings, Bucks, Rams, Patriots. Kirk Cousins is the best quarterback they're playing all year.
I thought you wanted me to answer that.
Okay. Who's their best quarterback they're playing all year?
Turd Norton.
It's either Trevor Lawrence or Kirk Cousins. And that's it. You could lose both of those games and still win 11 games this year.
I get it. If you're playing Nate Sudfeld and Cade McNown every week, you're going to have a good record. I just like the Carolina odds. What'd you say the Saints were? Plus 130?
Plus 130. With Derek Carr, who I think is going to be an upgrade over Andy Dalton. They brought a lot of guys back on defense. Michael Thomas is supposedly healthy. How don't they win that division if they get to 10 wins?
Yeah. If you guys are wondering why can't I read the graphic? Because my little space bar is always right over it. I'm with you. I just don't trust the Saints.
We did this last year, but I really feel it this time.
Oh, great. Doubling down. All right, let's go. Can we go to a little more interesting division? See the 49ers there. This makes sense that they would be number 1, but I have a feeling this is going to be really interesting outside of the Rams.
So I've seen a lot of movement from Bet Online over the last 2 weeks here, because just a couple weeks ago, the 49ers were just even odds to win this division. Now it's gone up a little bit to minus 160. The Seahawks
That's a lot.
Quite a bit. Seahawks are plus 250. The Rams are plus 550. And the Cardinals are 20-1.
I find it interesting that the Cardinals are 20-1, but the Rams are plus 550. Because if you look at the Rams depth chart,
it's just got to be Stafford and McVay and Donald and Kupp, right?
And Kupp. Yeah. I mean, I guess they just feel like with that kind of group of or nucleus, you got to give them better odds than 20-1 or 10-1. But even at 550, Marcus, I wouldn't touch that. This is a 2-horse race, but it's an interesting 2-horse race. because at even odds, I love the 49ers. That would be my favorite bet on this whole thing. But now you're going to 160, and Seattle's a really good bargain at plus 250. So a couple questions for you. Do you think Seattle's draft, and I know you said we overrate the draft, but if we just try to look at it as guys that can make contributions right now, do you think Seattle got 3 or 4 guys that could make them better in year one, not project guys that make them better in the middle of next year?
So really quickly, they drafted Devin Witherspoon, a corner, at number 5. I think corners typically struggle as rookies, so I'm kind of throwing that one out. Next 2 picks, Jackson Smith-Njigba, the slot receiver from Ohio State. That one he's going to help right away. He's pro ready. And I didn't love their second round pick, Zach Charbonnet, a running back from UCLA.
Yeah.
But running backs do have an impact right away. Like if you draft a running back in round 2, those guys can produce. So I kind of think the combination of Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet is going to be really good for them in the regular season.
49ers lost a lot of depth this offseason. A lot of guys you may not have heard of, but were contributors. The 49ers did not have early picks in this draft at all. I think their first pick came in the late 3rd round or somewhere
99, something like that.
Yes. But if you had to pick between these two, so you're once again, it's plus 160 for minus 160 for the 49ers and plus 250, right, for Seattle. What are you doing?
I would take the 49ers, but that's so close. Their lack of depth is so concerning, and we have no idea what their quarterback situation is going to look like, but they just have like 9 blue chip players on that roster that I've got to believe they're going to be able to figure out how to get to 10, 11 wins. And they're going to beat up on all these other teams in their division. Right. And if they can go 5-1 in the division, they're probably going to win it.
Yeah. Plus, if you're saying right now to yourself, yeah, but what about the question of quarterback? Is it Trey Lance? Is it Sam Darnold? Is Brock Purdy going to come back and be the starter in December or something like that? Seattle's got a question mark too. I know Geno Smith was outstanding, but we don't have this huge catalog of Geno Smith being outstanding. He was okay in 2021 when he played. So I think that's a question mark. My final thought on this for me is I think I like Kansas City, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. The 3 division favorites, odds wise, those would be my 3. But I'm curious. I'm sure you have some kind of parlay, something 20-sided die, uber nerd gambling thing.
I've got a couple ones. I like Jacksonville a lot at minus 155. They're just the most talented team in that division. I think you do as well. I like Philly at minus 120. And then if you put the Saints at plus 130, you combine those 3 together, and it's 6-1 odds. I think that's a pretty good bet.
Yeah, so what you're banking on there is a great team, Philadelphia. You're banking on a team that's in an absolutely terrible division in Jacksonville, but Jacksonville's going to have to play the first place schedule. And then with New Orleans, you're not really thinking, are they the best team? You're looking at their schedule and saying,
in the division.
My gosh. Yeah, right? And the division. Yeah, so 3 kind of different reasons there. But I like it. I think I would just go with the favorites. I guess I'm being boring Barry here.
Well, those are 3 favorites, though. Those are 3 favorites of their divisions, but it's just that the payout's not quite as good. Now, I like Baltimore. I would have no problem swapping out, getting rid of a team like the Jags and putting in Baltimore. And all of a sudden, that same $100 bet turns into it's $100 to win $1,400. I like that better, but that's me.
Yeah, I was just saying I like Philadelphia, Kansas City, San Francisco. Those are the 3 favorites in their respective divisions.
Yeah.
And those are the teams I like. And that is a little more boring than what you're going with. So again, Marcus is looking at Jacksonville. He's looking at Philadelphia. He's looking at New Orleans. And if you want to slide one of those out, slide Baltimore in. Baltimore was plus 250 in a division that Vegas, specifically in this case, Bet Online thinks Bengals are the favorites. Bengals were minus 115 or plus 115?
Plus 115.
Plus 115 is a little different than minus 115. Yeah. So you bet 100, you get $115. Not terrible there. Again, we liked the Bills. I liked Miami. After that, it's just a big grab bag, really. But I do think Seattle at plus 250 is a pretty good value. You're just hoping Geno Smith really plays well and they get something out of their rookies. But that's my final thought, sir. I give you the floor.
If I'm going to gamble like on a long shot, because we see teams all the time go from the 3rd or 4th worst odds in the division to winning it, right? Like Jacksonville was that team last year. I think both the Colts and the Titans had better odds. If I'm going to gamble on one of those teams, I think I would do it on the Colts just because the division is so weak. They do have a good offensive line. They do have a good running back. They've got weapons. And I still think that defense is really solid in the front seven. That's the team that I could see. I'll give you one more. One more. You ready?
Yeah.
What about the Patriots at 7-1? I know they're in a really, really tough division, but that is a defense that was absolutely awesome last year, especially down the stretch. You've got an actual offensive coordinator now in Bill O'Brien. We know that Bill Belichick is going to keep this team competitive. If they just don't do dumb stuff like the Raiders game last year where Jacoby Myers threw the ball away.
Just don't do this dumb stuff.
Well,
that's right. The Chandler Jones play. I forgot all about that.
Just that kind of little stuff. They win 11 games last year. Like they were so close to being a really, really good team. Why not the Patriots at 7-1?
That I forgot all about that play. That was the worst play in football last year. If you guys don't remember, they were doing a lateral play. Was it even a lateral play? Jacoby Myers?
It was a lateral play, and Jacoby Myers just inexplicably threw the ball backwards, 50 yards,
20 yards across the field to Matt Jones, who got that. Well, Chandler Jones intercepted it because the ball hung up there like a dying quail, and then Chandler Jones stiffed arm Mac Jones right into the ground, ran for the easiest touchdown ever. What do you think's the worst? I'm just curious because we've been negative. I want to go with our theme. We've been negative Nancy's all week. What is Marcus's worst bet on the board?
Ooh, it's the Cardinals. I
at 20-1?
Yes.
Oh,
I mean, they are going to struggle to win more than 3 games this year. And with Kyler Murray maybe not playing, I saw a report today till like Thanksgiving, and Colt McCoy's not on the roster. Like that just is a really, really bad team. And they've lost some veteran leadership, and their best players are old, like DeAndre Hopkins and James Conner, and they lost JJ Watt. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah. Are you surprised it's not like 30-1 or
20-1? 20-1 even then seems really like who's bad betting odds. That? Who's betting on? You know what? I'm going to throw $20 in the Cardinals to win the division.
Yeah, you win $400 if you do that, but have fun with that, as we say. Well, that's our take on the division odds. It's pretty interesting. I love to go over all the teams like we did. It's always fun to do this. But if you're more the one team kind of person and the Cowboys happen to be your team, head over to Locked On Cowboys. Marcus hosts that program over there. It's a good little program. But it's feel free. Also, Marcus writes for PokerballFocus.com, and he covers the Raiders for Raiders Wire. He's a huge believer in them winning the AFC West, except not at all. He's at Marcus_Mosher on Twitter. I am at Harrison NFL on Twitter. There's our music. I was wondering when I was going to get the hook, and I just got it. So we appreciate all you guys, and we will talk to you. Maybe we'll do another short this week. We've been, can we do another negative short?
Sure. I got it.
We'll have our theme. Yeah, really. Here comes Marcus's football's dumb. That's going to be our short. Football's dumb. Anyway, take care, everybody.